Okay, so starting with our feet together, raise up on the ball of the foot, rock back to the heel. Okay, so we plantar flex, dorsiflex, back and forth. If you need to hang on to something, that's fine, but if you can do it freestanding, a little better. It helps a little bit of balance. Now, slight bend in the knees as we make circles. You're going to just go in the range of motion that your body allows. Switch directions. Now, on one leg, I bring the knee up, I kick the leg forward, I kick back, kind of like I'm opening up my stride running. And switch legs. Now standing on one leg, we go side to side, both front and back. This is kind of like the karaoke drill or over-unders you do when you're form running. All in place, no equipment. Today's workouts, no equipment, pure body weight, open space. Now, lift the knee up hip height, internal, external rotation. Set the leg down, other leg. Now, big hip circles. Just let the head move, let the hips move, feet are about shoulder width. Switch directions on that. Now around the sternum, more or less, right around the solar plexus is kind of where we're imagining that rotation point, and we switch directions. Remember, with all these that cause any pain, cut the range of motion, maybe cut the movement, you can always come back to it. Oh, this should feel good. Now we roll the neck. Switch directions. Now shrug and roll the shoulders back. So we shrug towards the front, roll them down and back. If you want to move the thoracic spine a little bit, you can, right, where the rib cage is. Now from there, we do our arm circles. Switch directions. Now here, right? So keep my hands touching. Warming up the elbows, other way. And a little figure 8 pattern there. Okay, so now what we want to do is get ourselves into a natural squat stance. Everybody's gonna be a little bit different here. We wanna try to keep the heels flat on the ground. It's totally okay to grab a hold of something. We just wanna squat down, right? A deep squat. If you can be upright on your own, that's fine. Like I said, if you need to grab a hold of something, but I wanna be deep, barefoot, right? If you have to have shoes on, it's okay, but barefoot, in my opinion, is always better, right? And just drop down here, hold, and just relax into the position. On your own, you can do this for a pretty long time. I'm not going to subject anybody to watching me squat for multiple minutes. This is just the idea. I want to squat down here. I want to try to get my torso upright if possible. There's a little curvature that's natural. That's why we can use something to pull, right? As I pull, that can bring my knees forward a little bit, allowing me to get myself more upright. Now from here, we're going to come up into standing, right? So you can stay here, or you can go a little closer together, or all the way together. Wider is a little bit easier. So I start here at the chin, then I start to roll the spine segment by segment. Legs are straight or a slight tiny bend. If I can get my hands flat to the floor, great. You can also, if that becomes too easy, try to start pushing your elbows toward the floor, letting your head drop down, right? And we just hang out here. And when we come up, we bend the knees, start with the lower back, and then we come up to standing nice and tall. And I'll show you from the side what that looks like. So I curl, we go down one more time. hang right here. There again, it isn't causing any pain. If you want to shift a little bit side to side, then we curl back up. All right, so waking up all those joints, okay? Now we're gonna work on the shoulders a little bit, so standing nice and tall, reach up, reach forward, pull back, open both, individually close, cycling through, up, forward, back, external rotation, individual internal rotation, and try to keep your spine really neutral. So tuck the tail, hopefully understand what neutral spine means, right? But try to straighten out the mid-back, try to keep the head back, the chin in, really nice straight aligned spine. That really helps when we're doing most of these exercises. And like when we flex forward in the last one, obviously we don't do that. So there are exceptions, but the rest of the time we're trying to keep a really neutral spine. Excellent. So after we've done that for the shoulder, now we're gonna start getting a little bit more dynamic. We're gonna start speeding up a little bit. Remember, not super fast, and we're not pulling the tissue, okay? So back to hip width, shoulder width. I'm gonna reach forward, come up to standing, reach back and up, and I'll show you here from the side. So I go down, just like that, okay? And there again, respect your range of motion and breathe. 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we turn our feet inward, tuck the tail, straighten the spine, neutral spine again. Feet in, that fixes the pelvis. Reach side to side. You're trying to feel your ribs displace off of your pelvis. Feel a nice back stretch there, the quadratus lumborum muscle. Cause a back pain in a lot of people. Now, as I reach this way, add lateral flexion. Reach, 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 reach. Keep moving side to side. Now, right here, hands up. Flex the spine, flex the hip. Meet in the middle, down, side to side. If you can, lift those toes up with the knee. Okay, now arm swings, all right? We cross, diagonal up and down, cross, alternating side to side. Sometimes people like to smack their back. Shows you're getting a nice full range of motion. All right, now for the balance, right? Balance is really important. So bring the knee up hip height, just stand on one leg if you want. You can collapse the arch, build the arch. Kind of shift back and forth. You want to make it a little bit more difficult. If you're having a tough time, just play with it. Find it easy. Start moving your arms around, right? Challenging your balance a little more. And there again, this is just a component of fitness. A lot of people leave it out. So just doing this real simple exercise can really improve your balance. And foot down, switch. There again, my crazy arm motions you don't have to do. If you had some balls and you wanted to juggle, you can do whatever, right? Like I said, you can play with the base foot. You can stand on an AirX pad. These mats are soft, you can stand on something even softer. It makes it harder. But you may find just standing on one leg in and of itself is kind of challenging. Closing your eyes can also make it more difficult. All kinds of ways to up the intensity. Excellent. Okay, so We should be really warmed up now, and so we're gonna get into the exercises, okay? We got 2 that we're gonna do for the strength portion, right? By all means, you can adjust. So our first one, what I'm gonna be trying to do, right, is tap my knee down, right, like a one-legged squat, and then stand. For some people, that's gonna be too hard. Even if you assist with balance, just due to strength, proprioception, could be all kinds of things. Totally okay, like, so the motion, when I'm really doing it, is I tap, my heel stays down, and then I come up, right? Totally okay if you just do a split squat, right? Similar, and it's gonna start developing that capacity, okay? Totally all right. We do both sides with that one. So you can do a split squat, even a shallow split squat. Now, the next one here, we're actually not even gonna do the one-arm push-up. We're gonna work on the development of the one-arm push-up. So the push arm stays close. I don't want it wide. I want it like this. This hand, right, the closer it is to underneath in the standard push-up position, the easier it's gonna be. So I wanna try to get this hand further and further away. The base leg of the push side is gonna be straight and aligned. The other one's gonna be a little bit wider, right? The more we narrow it, the harder it gets too. So feet together on one arm, right? Very difficult. The wider the base with the hand, the more difficult it's gonna be. And we wanna put that leg out wide. So it'll look something like this for most of you. You might even wanna be like on a fingertip. The one arm push-up is just that without. And what we wanna avoid is the one arm push-up. A lot of people do this, we wanna avoid this. Right, is this, turning my body. And see, I am doing a one-arm push-up, but I want to try to keep my torso parallel to the floor. So low repetitions on both of these, and then if you decide you feel strong, you feel good, just do more sets, okay? So you could do, we're gonna keep the reps under 5. You could do up to 5 sets if you wanted to, give it a little rest in between each exercise. But for the demonstration, for the workout, I'm just gonna do it one time. There again, we got some variations. So beginning with our knee tap exercise, okay? You can also alternate legs. I'm gonna stay on one leg, then I'm gonna go to the other leg, okay? So beginning, I reach forward, I tap that knee, stand tall. This is an excellent exercise to develop the pistol. It's an excellent exercise just within itself too. Tap, boom, come up. And switch legs. Hands reach forward, knee taps down, stand nice and tall. Try to keep the heel down. One more. All right, now remember, rest as much as you need in between. You can also rest between reps, rest between sets, right? The easier it is, less rest you need. The harder it is, the more rest you're gonna need. That's just how it goes when you're doing intense exercise, okay? So now we get into our push-up position, right? I'm gonna do the one finger variation, right, of assistance. And this actually does help a lot. It makes it way easier. And break. Now, there again, if it's not that hard for you, you can just go right into the other side. If that was really difficult, maybe you said 1 rep was really hard. Don't be shy about resting up to a minute in between efforts. So remember, when you're doing these, if you can keep right up with me, great. There again, you can do tons more work. But remember, we just want to do enough work to get a result, right? We don't want to overtrain ourselves. It's not that smart, right? We're basically working more to get paid less. I don't like that. Okay, so that's the circuit for today, the strength circuit, okay? So by all means, you could do a bunch more sets of that. Remember though, it's not, don't turn strength training Strength, mobility, coordination training, don't turn it into endurance training. It tends to work against each other to do that. There's a time for endurance training. This isn't the workout that we're doing endurance training. Don't get those confused, right? So I'm gonna rest a little bit. Don't worry, if you wanna space it out. Also, you just do one set. One set's way better than 0 sets, so nothing wrong with that. You just wanna do the one. Now, the next thing that we're doing, right? If you're barefoot on a hardwood floor, right? You wanna be careful with the amplitude, okay? If your joints really aren't ready for this, you've never done explosive, dynamic, plyometric movements, probably for you, just do some squats, maybe all the way down, air squats, right? Totally fine. That's what I recommend you do if you're not used to this. If you've done some plyometric exercises, but if you're out of form, you might want to do little, look at my height, jump squats, right? But if you have the means to, right, your body can absorb it, right? You got the proper surface that you're doing it on. We're gonna spring off of our lower leg with a straight leg, like that, okay? We're gonna do that, so I'm gonna show you how this goes, and we're just gonna do it together. It's not gonna be a lot of work, just a little bit. 10 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 2 times, okay? And go. You're trying to keep the legs relatively straight. There's a soft bend, right? But we're springing, time, up off the ball of the foot, right? Making that plantar flexion reaction, boom, like that, okay? So rest 10 more seconds, and we go again. Just 2 rounds. This one I recommend you don't do more unless you're highly advanced and you're doing a power training protocol, right? And go. You don't want to get carried away with this stuff. It can hurt the joints if you do too much. It can also really fry the nervous system. Time. Good. Okay. So now let's work on some of the smaller muscle groups. Okay? So we're going to come down to the floor, right? And we're going to work on the inner thighs, the adductors here, right? I'm going to cross my top leg over my bottom leg straight, right? Put my hand on the ground here, and then I raise up and down. So, kind of a good baseline when we're doing these small segmental exercises. You want to try to get to like 30 or more repetitions, feeling you could probably easily double that amount. It doesn't mean you have to do your max amount every time, but we basically just want to make sure we stay in touch with all the muscles in our body. So if you know you have a specific weakness, like I have a specifically weak muscle here in my VMO, I work on that 3 times a week. And on the other side now. But as you're doing these, if you find you're particularly weak, you have very little range of motion, it's a real good idea to start including it a few times a week, get that muscle developed, get that pattern developed in the body. But likewise, if you have full range of motion, don't really feel much after 30 to 60 seconds of work, that means you're probably pretty good on that muscle. You don't maybe need so much. Excellent. Now, we do our cross pattern, right? So with my left hand down, right leg down, I bring my left leg up. You have to bend a little bit, it's okay. Try to keep it straight. Look how my shoulder and my head come off the ground, and then I touch. So switch sides. All right. Now, face down, we're going opposite, right? So I want my nose to touch the floor. I dorsiflex my feet, pulling my toes up towards the knees. hands on the ground, and I go opposite arm and leg. Try to keep both the arm and the leg straight if you can. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch. Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time. So there again, that little segmental series, you can do that 2 or 3 times. There again, 1 time is just fine. Okay, so now we're gonna do some stretches, all right? So we're gonna use a wall here. We're gonna get the pec and we're gonna get the hips. So I want my hip against the wall, that knee's up, hip that's against the wall. I wanna take my arm back up at 45 degrees, pull my fingers toward me, try to let my shoulder go in toward the wall while rotating this way. Trying to stay relatively upright as I feel a nice stretch through the pec. Always try to calm your breathing when you're stretching. Like I say in yoga, you can move with the breath. Breathe out, go a little deeper, breathe in, come out of the stretch a little bit. And let's switch sides. We go back and up. We go shoulder into the wall, pulling those fingers back. All right, now, down here, come to our kneeling posture. Very similar, but whereas we were going on this side of the leg that's up, now the knee that's down. So tuck the tail, right? Tuck under a posterior tilt of the pelvis. Nice straight spine. Bring this arm up, push other arm forward. As you're pushing up, rotate. Don't just rotate to rotate, connect to the hip flexor, right? Try to really straighten the spine. Tucking under for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch legs, tuck tail, arm up, hand up, rotate as you push through, getting taller. Really connect to the hip flexor here. That distorts posture a lot in people, causes a lot of problems. So try to really understand that muscle, try to connect to it, become aware of it. You can do that through strengthening, you can do it through stretching. Good combination of both tends to give the best results. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now, take a seat, cross-legged, right? Tail tucked, chest up, head back, chin in. Connect your fingertips, working on your thoracic spine here now. T6 and T7. Working your way up, knees down. It's really about connecting to the spine, right? To feeling that opening in the back as compared to letting the spine wiggle and getting my hands all the way up. That means I cheated, right? It's a very subtle motion, takes a lot of practice. I highly recommend L-DOA courses to everybody. Take the time, learn it from the source. It's well worth the investment. down. And that's the workout. Hopefully you enjoyed it.